personally, for me, it looks like when it comes to FIFA tournaments, African teams just come, learn a new dance step or a new celebration that they intend to exhibit at the tournament. And then when they get a chance to show it, maybe after scoring a goal or after winning or drawing a game, they then show that dance step. It's not been impressive, in my own opinion, but I don't know if you have a contrary opinion. Good day, everyone. You're welcome to yet another edition of the Late Goal podcast rather. On today's show, we'll be touching on a number of things. Most importantly, the transfer window, the Club World Cup. We're also going to be discussing um, Africa's showing, particularly at the Club World Cup. Um, there's really not much for us to discuss today. We'll also be touching on Lyon's um, the recent reports relating to Lyon, particularly as it affects their status in Ligue 1. So today we have a guest on the show. His name is Obed. I have my usuals as well. We've got Ahmed, we've got JD, and we've got Mayor. At some point in the show, we hope that Samson would be able to join us. But even if he doesn't, I think we've got full house already, and the show should be just as fun as it usually is. Obed, how are you doing today?
I'm very well. It's actually very nice to be here on this platform with you guys. Thanks for having me.
It's good to have you here as well. Ahmed, how's the week been?
Yeah, very well. Good to be here again after missing the last recording. Very splendid.
And JD, I'm sure that the mini heart attack that Inter almost gave us against Urawa Red Diamonds, we've been able to overcome that to qualify as leaders of the group. How are you feeling about the Club World Cup?
I'm feeling so excited because finally,
Is it not too early? Is it not too early to be excited?
finally entered. May you leave us alone. Mind you,
Is it not too
Yeah,
early to be excited?
PSG are still there. Oh, you are feeling excited.
leave them
Is
first.
it
When
your
we get to the place,
excitement?
we'll cross it.
Okay.
And Mayo, good to have you back. It's been about 3 weeks since we had you on the show. How are you doing tonight?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you.
All right. So straight to the point. We'll begin with the Club World Cup. We'll just do a quick review, or a quick review rather, of the just concluded games. We had games between Manchester City and Juventus, for example. Juventus were taken to the cleaners in that game. Inter were able to qualify, and dare I say, comfortably against what's the name of the club now?
River Plate.
River
Liverpool.
Plate, a game that I was a bit skeptical about. Hilal also made it to the second round. Real Madrid, mostly the usual suspects. Mayor, what are your thoughts on the competition so far?
I think it is the atmosphere at the stadium is not really great. They've not had this, when they say it is World Cup. Just imagine if it was being hosted in maybe places like France or England. The atmosphere will be more robust, energetic. But now you just see a scanty field everywhere. That's number one. Then number two, we don't even know which team can beat which team this time around. Everybody just wants to be a spoiler. You can't be so sure that your team is going all the way. Flamingo will just beat Baka. Baka will just beat Alani will just come and beat Madrid. It is quite difficult.
Are you saying this because
Flamingo will
Flamingo
beat
club?
Chelsea.
Are you making a case for
Don't
Chelsea?
say
It
Flamingo will
was
beat Baka.
no.
Is
You
this
put
you
your
making a
phone-
case for
Don't go
Chelsea?
through the corners.
It was tactical decision. We knew what we were doing.
Tactical
There was
decision to
nothing
lose to
tactical about
Flamingo.
that.
Yeah. If you look at our pathway to the final, you will see the reason why we did that. And it makes a
Oh
lot
my
of sense.
God.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Uh, well, I do agree with you that. Sorry, you were going to say something, Sir Robert?
I said it's easier to say that in hindsight. I was a tactical decision. If I
Exactly.
Exactly. Just
I
leave
could go,
Mayo.
but it may not follow me.
Mayo,
Don't worry. You can never win against Mayo. You
Mayo,
can
the
never win
kitchen is
against
yours.
Mayo.
No, you
So,
can still play
but
draw. Maybe you will not win.
I do agree that there hasn't been, at least from my own perspective, there has not been enough enthusiasm about the Club World Cup. It could be because of the host country. As we all know, United States is not particularly a footballing nation. It could also be because this is the first edition, so maybe the organizers, and I'm referring to FIFA now, are still getting to grips with what might be involved, even though that looks like a silly excuse for an organization that has hosted many World Cups and many tournaments in the past. But it looks like there's something that just looks off. I've seen some games where you had very full stadiums, and there were some games where the stadium just looked canty. So in that aspect, I think I agree with Mayor. But Sarobek, what do you think about the results so far? Have you seen more shocks than more expected results? Do you expect us to still see more shocks going into the tournament? What do you think?
For me personally, I think the only thing that has been a little bit surprising has been the showings of the supposedly smaller teams. That is the Ahly, the Esperance, Sundown. I watched Sundown against Dortmund, and it was a very exciting and very open game. I usually don't follow the South African league, but they gave a very good showing of themselves. For me, that is what I've been looking out for in the Club World Cup. We always watch Chelsea, we always watch Inter, watch Juventus, Man City, and the rest of them. Those are people that comfortably we have an idea of what they bring to the table. But the Club World Cup has given us a chance to see more teams, despite the fact that I'm not really a big fan of the expanded version as against what it was before. But this expanded version has given us chance to see five more South American team, four extra African teams, and the ones from the Asian teams and all of that. For me, the expanded version is a little bit better, but it just gives us avenue to watch a little bit of the teams that we really do not know so much about. And talking about that, Al Ali has really been the standout team for me in terms of the lower team, like just the lower team as against to other European teams that were
Sorry to
quite
cut you short.
average.
Are you referring to Al Ahly of Egypt or Al Hilal of Saudi?
Sorry, Al Hilal. Sorry, Al
Okay.
Hilal actually. Although Al Ali too, they've given a good showing, but we know
Alali.
that
Yeah,
was
there
was
was
it
the draw against Porto, for example, the
yes,
4-4
against
draw.
Porto.
Porto were pure, very poor throughout the tournament. They are knocked out, so I don't think
And
that
they were lucky not to win
But
against Inter
it's still
Miami.
an African team against an European team.
lucky,
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if Porto were
lucky.
poor.
What's this
If
inferiority complex
Al
about?
Ali were not so good, I really don't see it. For me, they gave a good showing of themselves. To score 4 goals is not easy in a game now. Even if your opponent are not as good, for you to actually put in the work and get 4 goals in a game against a supposedly superior team, for me, I think it's a plus for African football. But for Al Hilal, I saw the game against Real Madrid, and they really gave a very good showing of themselves. It was a very standout performance, and they deserved every point they got from that game. And going into the next round now, at least there's a bit of pedigree on their side based on the little team we've watched from them in the group stages. And I think Al Hilal has a chance to probably go further. They have very good players. Let's not take that away from them. They have very good European experienced players. So I think that's what is counting for them in this tournament. It doesn't really feel like an Asian team coming with just players that have played basically in their league. They have experienced players from Europe, and basically that's what has been showing for them in this Club World Cup.
Well, Saudi Arabia has actually been spending a lot of money over the last few transfer windows. So it's not really surprising that they've been able to find one team that, would particularly do well, especially in a competition like this, considering the amount of monies that they've spent recently. Al Hilal for me is not a team that you would even consider the typical Saudi team because that's a team that has Malcolm, has Milinkovic, Savic. If I'm not mistaken, I think they still have Koulibaly, if I'm not
They have
mistaken.
Cancelo,
They
Yes,
You
have
know,
Ruben
they,
Cancelo,
Neves,
they do have a
Puerto,
number
João
of
Neves.
players
they
with
have
Marcos
European
Leonardo.
experience. And they are still looking to build, and they've just brought in Simone Inzaghi as their coach. So you would expect them to do well. But moving forward and still sticking with Al Hilal, they will be facing Man City in the second round. I just want us to quickly touch on, what to expect in the second round. There are quite a number of, would I say, juicy fixtures. We've got Man City against Al Hilal. We've got Real Madrid versus Juventus, which I classify as the star game of the round. We've got PSG versus Inter Miami. Lionel Messi gets to face his former club. Um, Obviously, Mayor's Benfica, Mayor's Chelsea rather. I'm sorry, Mayor. Mayor's Chelsea will be facing off against Benfica, and we have Fluminense versus Inter, among other games. There are 8 games in that round. Now, JD, City Al Hilal, what are you expecting? Any upsets?
Thank you. I still feel that the best part of this newly reformed Club World Cup is still the adverts pre the tournament. I have not really seen the real action compared to what we saw in the adverts, what was proposed to us. So this is the first knockout round. I feel that this round will serve us exactly what we envisaged to see in the tournament proper. Al Hilal against Man City, I think it will be a very tricky tie, a kind of game that could end either ways. Manchester City are in a rebuilding phase. Al Hilal themselves got a new coach, and I think they are a team that was just coming on the back of a disappointing season. So they came into the tournament fully reloaded and having a point to prove. They did that against Real Madrid. They got a 1-0 draw against Real Madrid. In their following game, they disappointed a bit. They played goalless against Salzburg, I think, and they swept aside Pachuca in their last game. So I feel Man City have a whole lot of work to do in that game. It's not going to be a walkover. So I am giving Al Hilal a slight chance to upset Manchester City because I really do not feel that they are in their top gear right now. So it could go either way. Anything could happen in the game.
Well,
If you actually saw their game against Pachuca, you wouldn't give them as much chance as you just did.
They
and
They,
they
they
raised
saw
their
the
game
game,
against tougher
City's
sides.
game against Juventus as well. Because
they were
personally, I don't think Al Hilal might cause an upset because obviously it's football and anything can happen in
they were
football.
not really
But I
You
think
saw what
convincing.
they
Man
did
City
against
might be
Madrid.
too much for them. But before I go
Definitely.
forward, Ahmed, we do have a resident Arsenal hater in this group. I think it's only right that we qualify JD as a resident Man City hater. Or am I the only one that has noticed that this guy
Over
has
cars.
Man City hater? Man City, Cass does not hate Man City. But
Oh, okay.
J,
You said Man City. I thought you said Arsenal.
yeah, JD is always on the negative when it comes to Man City. He would always find something negative about them or
Definitely.
find something to
I
counter
noticed that
them
too.
To
one
be
way or
candid,
another.
to be candid,
But
as UEFA and FIFA, have they been fair with Man City? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, can
as
hear you.
Manchester City themselves be fair to other clubs, they've always gotten on due advantage. They have. Do you know how
Your
many
audio is
charges they have
skipping.
waiting in the wings?
the audio is keeping. It might have
Mm.
something to do with the network, but we're just going to go forward. Mayo, over to you. Real Madrid versus Juventus. I do not want you to talk about Chelsea. We'll allow other people talk about your Chelsea for you today, so that we can see it from an unbiased perspective. But
Real Madrid
for you,
against
Real
Al
Madrid
Hilal.
Juventus, what are your expectations for that game?
Real Madrid Juventus.
Yes, Real Madrid
It is
Juventus
just going to be a one-sided game, and we know who the winner is.
in favor
We
of
don't
Juventus.
know. Please tell us.
We
Oh.
all know.
Mayor,
We
tell
In
don't.
us.
favor
I
of
don't know.
Juventus.
I personally.
Don't know. Okay, Real Madrid will take. We lead them 2-0 at first half. The second half, another 2-0.
Oh my.
Ah,
Oh
ah,
my God.
this is so
See the
so
way
Oh
brave.
my
Juventus,
God.
see the way
This
Man
is this
City
is this is audacious.
decimated them.
But
I,
to be very honest,
Not every team
I've
is
not been
Man
impressed
City.
with Real Madrid in this
Mayor,
tournament.
are
I
you
don't know
They
if
will,
it's
they
just
will
analyzing
me.
win.
or you are predicting
Those
the
guys
score?
have so much confidence. They will still win. Juventus, will
Okay,
just,
we shall see.
any team from the Italian Serie A, they've just come to make up the number. They will be back home soon.
Come off
Uh-uh.
it.
For
Come
real,
off it.
Very soon.
for
Come
real.
off it. They've come to make up the numbers, but one of them got to the final of the Champions League last
What
just
Mayor,
this
can
for
happen
season.
real.
after the final?
We lost now, but we got to the final of the Champions League. Where were you?
Yeah,
Why
we
Is it
limit
not?
we
an
lost
English
to
I
team
won the
get to the
Juventus,
Conference
final?
League.
but let's
That's
Conference
nobody
League,
trophy.
Conference League,
That is
Principal
football
Cup,
trophy now. You shouldn't be
Yeah,
proud of that.
we, we are very
That is a
proud.
Principal
football
Cup.
trophy.
You
We
are comparing
are
it
extremely
to
proud.
Justice League. You are
We don't
comparing
participate
Conference
in
League
the
to
top notch
Justice
league.
League.
We will play in the. Do you know that we are playing the Super Cup? Are you aware?
Which of the
What
Super
Super
Cup?
Cup are you playing?
We will play. We will play
Have they
Tottenham.
Conference
changed the
Super
format
Cup.
for
We will play
Have
Tottenham.
they
Can't
changed
play
the
Super
format
Cup.
for the Super Cup?
Champions
You
League
play
versus
who?
Europa now.
No, no,
It's
no,
Why will
no.
Champions
you
League
play
versus Europa
Tottenham?
League
That
now.
is
What
that is
Super
the
Cup
And
are you
idea.
who
Have
playing?
they
who
have they
who would
extended
face
the Super
PSG?
Cup to?
It
I
is
don't
Has
either
the
us
Super
or
Cup
Tottenham.
Maybe
been expanded?
maybe African
Maybe
Super
this
Cup.
is this is no
Has it
this
been
is Club
expanded?
World Super Cup.
We got play go and face Mamelodi
European
Sundowns.
expanded Super Cup.
people
Club
are
World Super Cup.
people are not just happy for us. They are not,
Oh my God.
haters everywhere. Can you imagine?
Oh
All
my
Chelsea,
right, so
God.
no,
I
but
just want
Chelsea
to
were
Nobody is
better
actually
than
hating
quickly.
on
Chelsea
Chelsea.
were better
They
than
are not
Inter
worth the
anyway.
hate.
Who?
Sorry.
I said Chelsea were better than
I
Inter. At
don't want
least they won
anybody
a
to support
trophy.
me. We
No,
already
of
I'm
know.
course.
just saying.
Now
We already
we've
know.
discussed
I'm
this.
just
We've
saying.
discussed this many times on the show.
Nobody should support
Obviously, a
me.
trophy does make you feel
Nobody
like
should
you've
support
done
me.
more,
We know.
but you cannot qualify inter-season as a failure, so to speak. I
So it
mean,
wasn't a failure.
We don't care.
it wasn't a
We don't
failure.
care about your season.
A
We never
team,
even
a
watch
team,
your
a
league.
team that
We
a
don't
team
even
that
watch your
fought
league.
until the end. You cannot qualify that as a failure. If Inter is a failure, what do you then call Man United?
Ah, that is the head office of failure now.
So
With
you would
Arsenal.
not qualify inter-season as a failure. Obviously, it could have been better, but it wasn't a failure.
Well, we don't care about Inter Milan anyway. You are in the lower league. So
Oh
we really
my
don't
God.
care. We can't be bothered.
Nobody cares about Chelsea either.
Ah, you know. In your
But
mind, you know. You
moving on,
know that you care. You know. In your conscience, you know.
Yeah, your
You
Chelsea
will
is
not
more
care about
important.
justice.
moving on. Uh, Sir Obed, PSG Inter
Yeah.
Miami, quickly. What are your thoughts?
PSG Inter Miami. I think it's going to be a PSG victory. Although they have Messi and all of that, but coming into this tournament, the PSG team they've not really found that rhythm. The only game that they've been convincing was their first game against Atletico Madrid, which they won 4-0. And after that, they sort of dropped in confidence unexplainably because of the form they've been in coming into this tournament. We expected them to blow everybody away. The kind of football they've played over the past year, the Champions League final, even the first game against Atletico Madrid. And after that game, I just felt, oh, they've won this group. They will top the group, nine points and all of that. But we've all seen that this is football and the predictions are not always clean like that. For the game against Inter Miami, I think it's going to be a PSG victory based on the fact that PSG is a more complete team, and on their very good day, I don't think Inter Miami stands actually any chance, despite the fact that they have Messi. Messi would only be like the only bit of glimmer of hope that Inter Miami
They
has.
have Suarez.
And based on the way,
They have Busquets.
They have
Batman
Jordi
Suarez.
Alba.
please, that's fat man. Leave
They
those
have
ones. We
Mustari.
all know that this Inter Miami team. Please just leave all those names they're calling. We all know that this Inter Miami team, if you take out Messi out of the team, there's literally nothing that is left in the team. But for me, I think he's the only glimmer of hope. And based on the way PSG plays, the way they control that midfield, it's going to be difficult for Inter Miami to have chances, except we see some sort of brilliance from Messi. Personally, for me, I think PSG is going to go through with quite a convincing victory.
Contrary to your opinion,
Um,
I don't think PSG has been poor. I don't think so. They found a
No,
way to top that group.
They've
And
not been
that's what I'm
secondly,
saying.
they
spectacular
But
actually.
they blew away Atletico Madrid. Their only disappointment was facing an X factor, which was Botafogo. Everyone, like we all said at the start of the show, we all didn't know what to expect from the South American side. So,
well,
despite
I
that,
think
they played Botafogo off the park. But football night can go that way. They considered an unlucky deflected goal. Despite that, they controlled the whole game, but were unlucky to get an equalizer. Nevertheless, they came back and topped that group. So I don't see that as a reason for them not to throw Inter Miami off the field.
no, that's literally what I'm saying too. They would most likely it's going to be a straightforward victory for Inter
Inter
Miami,
Miami
barring
does
some
not have
sort
any
of
show to
miracle.
put up against
But
PSG. It's a walk in the
Definitely.
park for
Exactly.
PSG.
But what I'm trying to say is the PSG we all saw from last season, from the season in Europe, coming out all the way to the Champions League, winning basically everything that there was to win for them. We expected them to like be a walk in the park. And after the 4-0 win against Atletico Madrid, I just shut off the group that okay, fine, they were going to like blow through all their games, and which is why it's actually football. You can have all the right play and end up losing, which is what we saw against Botafogo. But for me, just
Well,
like I mentioned, against Inter Miami, it's going to be a straightforward victory, barring some
well,
sort of miracle.
there's always a bit of tiredness involved as well because we're talking about a PSG team that has played over 50 games this season already, and they got to the end of all of those tournaments. So it's normal for results to not go their way every once in a
Expect to
while.
lose at some point. I think it's basically what we saw a bit of in the Botafogo game and all of that. And I don't know if Dembele is back, but I think if Dembele comes back, it gives them an extra outlet in that attack. I'm not really sure they've not really been missing him, but we all know what he brings to the PSG team when he's in the team. So I think
That's
if he
true.
comes back before then, it's going to be an extra plus for them.
All right, so JD, Benfica, Chelsea, 2 minutes quickly.
Yeah, tight game. 50-50 chance. Chelsea have been convincing to an extent. Benfica too have proved that they are not here to joke. They've gotten better every game. So I'm giving Chelsea a slight chance to nick the game over Benfica, but I think it's going to be a very close contest.
How will you say that?
Okay.
We'll be back here. We'll be back
No,
here.
but
I
actually,
can't imagine
if we're
hearing
being
this.
Are you
honest,
sure? Are
yeah,
you sure you'll be back? What if you lose your voice again after celebrating a
Mayor
Chelsea
I'll
does
be
win?
not
back.
like
Mayor,
facing
I'll be back
Mayor,
criticism.
and I'll be writing, I'll be
Mayor,
typing.
no, no,
I,
Yeah.
Mayor, are you sure you won't tactically lose this one also?
We've
no, but
never.
if we're actually being honest,
Mayor,
if we're being
Mayor can give
but guys, if
excuses
we're
in
being
hindsight.
honest, just have not really been convincing like that. That you can say, okay, it's going to
Definitely,
be
they are
like
struggling.
I don't even
they,
trust the attack.
yes, and they're also in a rebuilding phase. Sure, you understand? So
What are they
What are they
rebuilding?
even
fine,
building,
I
sir?
understand.
This team has been
At the end
together
of
for
the
over 2 years. What are they rebuilding?
How?
no,
Inter Milan. How?
How is
But
it
How?
that's true
rebuilding
now.
now?
Let's say it's 50-50.
But
Well,
that's true now.
I don't really have much to say.
Enzo Fernandez is in his second season, if I'm not mistaken. Moises Caicedo is
Actually,
in his
Mayor
second
He's in
season,
his
if
actually
I'm not
share
third
their
mistaken.
season.
opinion
This is
A lot
Fernandez'
of those
of
third season.
all
players
of all
players are in
of
their
all the
second season.
fixtures.
They are in their third
What did you
season.
say?
Continue, Ika. I said
so
I
if
actually
if
share
if
Dunga's
we're being
opinion
honest,
of all the fixtures we have in the next round. Benfica, Chelsea, and Madrid Juve are the only fixtures that I believe would go either way. Every other fixtures are decided as
It
far
is
as I'm
still, it
concerned.
is
So I
still out
share
of,
his opinion.
It's
it
going to
is
be a
still the
very
same
close
thread.
contest.
It is the
Mayor, you
eighth
have
thread.
to face
no, no.
reality.
Mayor, to be honest, in my
Mayor can
opinion, I
never be
think
honest when it comes to
I think
Chelsea.
I think Chelsea Benfica is about the most balanced game in the next round
Do you
of
know what? Do
fixtures.
you know what I normally do? Nobody has ever won me since I
Yeah.
started that. If Benfica win, if they win us on
Uh-huh.
tomorrow, everybody on
Uh-huh.
this show, I'll give you guys 100,000 naira.
What's my own?
Hold on,
What?
100,000. Let me say it,
100,
100,000 for everybody.
$100. Okay,
100,000 naira for everybody.
Send it
okay.
to
If
the producer.
let me explain, let
Yeah.
me finish. Then
Okay,
if we win,
Uh-uh.
you guys will give
okay.
me 10,000. Should we game?
My own.
Uh-uh.
Anything can
Should
happen
we
now. I'm
game?
just saying it's 50-50.
Maybe say
I'm not
50.
I'm not
No,
betting no.
You should
Let's
not.
against
the
Chelsea
host.
It's not
midfield.
even a
Let the
bet.
host
Now,
decide.
Uh,
For professional reason, we are not allowed to bet on
It
this.
is
So
not even a bet. It's just a
Exactly.
Exactly.
We're
compensation.
sportsmen.
I'm
Let's
going
do
to
it
give
behind camera.
100,000. Then you give me 10,000. Is that a bet?
Let's do it behind
You know,
camera.
I don't call it 50-50.
you bet
Benfica,
now.
Ahmed, Fluminense
hey,
Inter. What are your thoughts?
this is really disgraceful.
I'm trying to I'm trying to get over. Anyways, Fluminense Inter. Well, this is one
Ah,
side that,
that one.
considering that Inter are not that very much up to speed, and Fluminense are the second most impressive South American side as far as I'm concerned. On the top of that, I would have Botafogo. They've been really really impressive as far they came out from I would call it the group of death featuring Atletico Madrid and PSG.
PSG.
But Fluminense they came from the Borussia Dortmund group. I expect them to give Inter a tough time, so to say, because I saw their game against Sundown. As much as Sundown played very beautiful football, like we expect from a Pep Guardiola side, um, but they were dogged defensively. They didn't concede, so I expect them to give such difficulty to Inter. And considering that Inter are still struggling with chance creation and goal scoring, so that would be a bit of difficulty for Inter. But I expect them to go through anyways at the end of
We're actually not struggling to create chances. We're only struggling to connect those chances.
score goals.
Yeah,
Actually,
Yeah,
yeah. The team is actually struggling to score goals. Also because the team does not have some of its
regulars.
starters, so to speak, regulars. But
sure.
that's by the way. We've spent a lot of time on this Club World Cup discussion. There was shocking news out of France just this past week. Lyon, the same Lyon that won Ligue 1 for, was it 7 years in a row? I know that,
Nine. Was it
was it
nine?
9 years
Or
in a
seven?
row?
Okay, seven.
Seven. They
Seven.
won seven in a row.
7 years in a row. That same Lyon has now been relegated to League Two for financial reasons, for massive debts, for whatever financial reason you can think of, and it's a bit of a shame because what that means is that Ligon loses one of his best teams. I know Lyon has not been particularly great over the last 3-4 seasons, but they still remain one of the best teams in France traditionally. And just wanted to get your thoughts on, what that means for Ligue 1 as a league. I don't know if there's still a chance that it can be overturned because I'm reading that their owner might need to sell his shares in Crystal Palace. He does have shares in Crystal Palace, and if they're able to make pump in certain funds into the club in time, they may reverse the decision. But if the decision does stay the way it is, what do you think it means for Ligue 1? That leaves us with, say, PSG, Marseille, maybe Lens as some of the traditional big teams in the league. And what does this say? Do you still see the league as a top five league? Is this still a strong league? I just want to get your thoughts, basically.
Anyways, we can't make certain conclusions as of right now based on information that came out today, earlier today. Apparently, this is not a new situation. They had a suspended sentence sometime around November when the issue arose. They were in debt of about 422 million. So they had an arrangement with the league budget to make provisions to sort their team finances. So towards the end of the season, they actually worked towards that. But apparently, the league body were not convinced enough that they've done a good job as regards that. That was when the sentence came out. But they've made some arrangements, and on which notes, the League One fixture for next season was released earlier today, and it had Lyon in it. So based on that, I believe there is a glimmer of hope that that judgment would be overturned, and they also had an arrangement with UEFA to participate in next season's Europa League because they finished sixth. That's also has an implication in England because their owner has a certain stake, 42% stake in Crystal Palace, who also qualified for the Europa League via winning the English FA Cup. So they made an arrangement with UEFA to participate in the Europa League next season, contrary to what is going on in the French league. So they've been rumored to appeal the decision of them being relegated. So there are still a lot of updates that would come up later into this window. So we have our fingers crossed as we see as that develops.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, if this result is not overturned, definitely, Lyon is one of the biggest sides in arguably the biggest side in France football. So that, in a way, would definitely reduce the quality of teams that we have in the football league. So we might have to reconsider their position in the European standing. Are they still top five? I would leave that to you guys to decide.
I do think after they were warned in November, December, I think they put all of their hopes on qualifying for the Champions League, hoping that Champions League money it wouldn't have brought them out of the problem entirely, but it would have softened the effect, giving them a bit of a soft landing and allowed them, go on without any major issues. But it looks like they lost qualification for Champions League on the final day of League, or maybe the penultimate day, and that has then put them in this mess that they find themselves. I hope that they're able to sort it out. I hope that it would be a shame if Ligon loses, Olympic Lyon to League Two, and then they have to work their way back to the top division. I wish them all the best. We're going to just quickly talk about some of the recent transfer rumors. But before I go forward, we have Samson with us. I did mention earlier that he would most likely be joining us on the show. It looks like someone that has just taken a couple of two bottles of stouts uh, before,
The weekend. I'm out.
So
before joining us.
I was waiting for Ahmed to conclude that they will give Lyon's Europa League slots to AC Milan, but he didn't
Which
get
of
there.
the AC? Which of the AC?
Oh, Loz,
By the
you
way,
were very
we
correct
have
when you
we have
said he has
another AC
taken.
Milan
You were
fan.
very
We have
correct
This
when you
one,
another
said he has taken 2 bottles of stout.
this one,
Samson, we have
maybe
another AC Milan fan on the show today.
ah,
So Obed
just
is an AC Milan fan.
it's looking like Tari's assistant.
So they went to Belgium together.
Welcome, obedience. It's good to have you on the show.
When are you people signing
I
Ardron
believe
Homes?
no,
Okay,
no,
As,
no,
now
no,
as,
next
no,
week.
no.
as,
Next week
as,
is
it,
almost here.
No,
as
don't
it
rush.
stands
You
like
see,
this,
our
I'm preparing
relationship
myself.
with Club Brugge is a
I beg.
very
On a one sign
unique
Real talk.
relationship. We like traveling to Belgium. We'll go and come back. May your offer.
I'm all right, sir. How are you, sir?
Mayor lost his voice. He
Galhanoglu.
lost his voice to Arsenal.
After beating with Betis, he lost his voice.
We
He
we
lost it to
can't we can't
Arsenal.
Imagine
lose anything to
shouting.
Arsenal.
Imagine shouting for a top conference league. Eh?
Team
Like we
one
will
Even in
never
the
trophy.
win.
Champions League, God, what will
Five,
you
5
lose?
million euros trophy.
Abi,
So
Mayor, Mayor, what will you lose if you win treble?
Ah,
we win
Mayor,
treble
let's
for
Mayor
let's
will
fun.
lose
let's
his
move on.
mind.
Let's move on, please. We do not have time, I beg. The transfer window has been quite interesting. There's been a lot of confirmed news. There's been official news as well. The transfer window does not officially open until July 1st, except for the provisional windows that have been opened because of the Club World Cup. There's been a number of rumors. Today, for example, I heard that a Saudi club was working to bring Lionel Messi to Saudi Arabia. I don't know if it was Al Hilal or Al Ahly. I
Al
think
Ahly.
JD, yeah, JD corrected me earlier. Personally, I thought it would have been Al Hilal because it just seemed like a good fit for Messi, given the kind of players that they have. But it could be Al Ahly. Milan are also interested in Ardon Jashari. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. Um, there are rumors that Hakan Calhanoglu might be leaving Inter to Galatasaray. But I read today that Hakan is not willing to force the move. So everything will completely depend on Galatasaray and whether they're able to convince Inter to let go of their midfielder. Arsenal are rumored to be close to the signings of Norgaard from what's the name of this club now?
Brentford.
Brentford
Brentford.
Brentford.
and Mosquera. I think his first name is Christian, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Mosquera from Valencia. There's a London derby, potential London derby for Eberechi Eze. Spurs and Arsenal are also rumored to be interested. And then Timothy Weah. That's a very interesting story actually. Timothy Weah, Nottingham Forest have shown interest in him over the past week, and for some reason he does not look keen on making that move. He prefers to stay at Juventus. Now, I've read today that Nottingham Forest have gone ahead to released a statement. I'm yet to confirm that though, but released a statement that it was them that pulled out of the deal and not where that rejected them, which
Why?
causes a bit
Why are
of
they releasing
confusion.
statement?
Exactly. I'm not sure why they feel the need to
Why are
save
these people
face.
always involved in
What
controversies?
what exactly they are trying to prove? Maybe to sort of give them the feeling that they are also a big club and players
All these
cannot
small clubs.
cannot reject them. But regarding the transfer window, I wanted to say something. Is it just me, or does it feel like Arsenal has a way of always addressing every area that is not a priority and then actually leaving that priority for another transfer window? And then when the season starts and then they start suffering from their neglect of that priority, it then becomes an issue. Am I the one that has seen that? Am I the one that's thinking that this signing of Norgaard and possibly Mosquera is not particularly what they should be focusing on at the moment? Samson.
Even Ateta knows.
Okay. Personally, for a big club, there's a psychological angle to signing players, and if for those that play football manager, there's something they used to call, not just football manager, generally in football, they call something statement signing. Considering the way Arsenal ended the season last season, by now I believe they should have signed a striker.
The
There is a
transfer window
way,
is yet to be open. Are we
Farabale,
rushing?
calm down.
I mean, look at Liverpool. Liverpool won the league last
Liverpool has
season.
spent
Liverpool
200
already
million
made
pounds.
statement signing.
They've
Look
spent
at
200 million
City.
pounds already. And you're saying
City are
transfer window has
moving
not
like they
started.
want to challenge next season. But
If you
Do you
look
what's
at
get?
Arsenal doing?
So,
Liverpool aside, majority of teams that have completed transfer dealings up until this moment are teams that are playing in the Club World Cup.
Ahmed,
But Liverpool
Arsenal
is
are
not
not
playing
in
the
the
Club
Club
World
World
Cup
Cup.
now.
They have the
I already
luxury
said
of
Liverpool aside.
they have
I
the
already said
luxury of
Liverpool
time.
aside.
They have
So
the
we can't
luxury of time.
we can't conclude that they would start to move things when transfer dealings officially open
So
come
why
next
has
month.
Man City signed 3 players or 4 players?
They need
And
it for Club World Cup now.
it's
I
not
already
just
mentioned
because
that.
of it's not just because of Club World Cup. See,
All right.
there's a way you is there's a way you will sign a player. You will send a message to your rivals that we are not playing this season. And Liverpool has done
But
that.
what if they are playing? What if they are playing?
Well,
They
Mayor,
can't be
please
surprised.
now. Mayor, please for crying out loud.
No, it's true.
it's
Arsenal.
true. It's a legit question. It's a legit question. What if they are playing? Because honestly, I'm disappointed in their approach towards the transfer window. Uh, for whatever it's worth, Liverpool has already sent a statement out to everybody that is concerned. And look, next season we are coming guns blazing. They are selling, they are buying, they are selling, they are buying. And Arsenal, I don't know, it's disappointing for me. I wouldn't understand what they are doing, but Ahmed has pleaded on their behalf and said we should we should wait the 1st of July.
They are keeping a low profile. They don't want to put pressure on their head.
Oh, please, it's just Arsenal. They can't keep a low profile. That's not how they move.
They are not a small club now. Even
I
Atletico
Are you
think
Madrid,
sure?
I
even
think the target
Atletico
for
Madrid,
Arsenal.
a big
eh,
club that likes behaving like a small club, they are making signings, they are doing things.
I think it is. We don't understand the rhythm. We don't understand how it works there. I think the algorithm that they are using for Arsenal is that you must not go to relegation. You don't necessarily need to win the Carling Cup. You don't need to win the FA Cup, qualify for Champions
Just
League,
make money.
and get
Where did you
to
where did you get this
quarter-final.
information from, Mayor?
That is.
No,
Look
but
at the
it's
Mayor,
trend.
actually
Mayor.
it's
Look at the
actually working out.
But
Mayor, where did you get this from?
to be fair on
look at the
Arsenal,
trend.
It's
um,
something logical
They
about
never.
now.
You will just get them that they will
You
sign
just
one
said it
striker
like
from
you were in the
Japan.
board meeting with Ateta.
They will just
but I
sign one
feel
player
that
from Japan, and that's it.
Arsenal are not showing
Mayor,
any sort of
JD,
seriousness.
JD, go ahead.
The transfer is not officially open yet. They are not playing in the Club World Cup. Where they need to strengthen is in the attack. And looking at their options, the players they are after, you would want to give them you want to allow them this benefit of doubt because these players they are going after are not the players that you can easily get on the market. As
Are
we
they
all know
after
that
Mbappe?
Gyökeres is
Are they
having a
after
problem with his
Mbappe?
club. They are not willing to let him go. So there is a lot of background checking to be done. There's a lot of negotiations to be done. Gyökeres has to first agree with Sporting Lisbon on what they want and how they want it to go. So we cannot blame
But
it all on Arsenal because they don't just need to strengthen anyway. they need to strengthen in the attacking department. So they really have to take their time. Let's wait for until
JD,
when the transfer window
JD, you're
officially
always
opens and see
skipping.
what they will do.
But the truth is, Arsenal didn't just need a striker this summer. Arsenal have needed a striker
Well,
for
so I think
since Aubameyang left.
So we,
in
Definitely.
my,
we,
my
we still have
opinion,
to give them the
actually, in my
benefit of
opinion,
doubt. The
for
transfer
a
window is not
club like
officially open.
JD, wait,
Let's
JD,
wait until
JD,
July 1st and see
JD,
what
give
they
me
do
the
from
next
there.
You
video
not
again.
start negotiations for player when this transfer window opens. You can negotiate
But
with
they have been
players as long as you
negotiating.
get permission from clubs.
They could be
So
moving in
how long?
They
silence.
How long?
started talks with.
Okay, so answer this question. Why is it that for other players, since Rubimendi, they are able to complete negotiations on time? Norgaard, they are able to
It's
complete negotiations on time. Mosquera is close. But when it comes to that
it's a
actual need,
different player and it
they
is
are
with
then,
different clubs.
very slow. And then there are
We know
issues, there are
how we
bottlenecks, there
know
are
how it
this.
is. We know how it is to sign players from Sporting Lisbon. You have to cough out your out to get their players. It's not always easy negotiating
Does it
with
have to be the Sporting
Portuguese clubs.
Lisbon player?
so, so
But
personally,
that's the best option for
I
them
don't
right
think
now.
it's
They don't just have
unfortunate.
to sign any striker. They have to sign a striker that will work. Somebody that will guarantee them goals. Somebody that will take them from the present level where they find themselves to that level where they are aspiring to go. So you don't just expect them to go to the market and sign just anybody.
Okay,
Really.
so Arsenal were
In my
rumored.
opinion,
Okay, please continue, Sir Albert.
in my opinion, I think any striker right now improves Arsenal as a team. Any striker, like literally anybody out there.
Did you
I
see any
understand the
striker?
fact
I
that
do not
Who
agree
But
with
they
did?
should
that.
get Jackson.
even
Liverpool
Jackson
did.
improves Arsenal
Or they get
Or
Harry
Morata.
Kelly.
because even
Saube,
Morata.
I do not agree. Any striker just not
No.
any striker will not
Saubed,
improve our
they
team.
need a difference maker in attack. I expect
No,
them
I
to be
know.
swarming all
No.
over
They
the
need
likes of
somebody like Victor
Osimhen,
Wait,
Osimhen. They need
Alexander
somebody like
Isak. They need to give the
Gyökeres.
whole of their transfer budget
wait.
to Isak, if that is
Hold
what
on.
it takes.
Understand what
Isak
I'm
is not what
saying.
Arsenal need.
Understand what
I'll
I'm
keep
saying.
saying
Hold
it.
on, let him land. Let him land.
Understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying any striker is good for Arsenal. Do you understand? But as at their team right now, any striker that they get improves the team. Do you understand? Because the kind of gameplay they have, even if they have Morata, fine, he will miss chances, but he will still contribute more goals because of the way they play. They create a lot of chances, but that point man, imagine what's his name, this their DM that was scoring for them.
Merino.
Imagine a
Merino.
team
Merino.
Merino was getting goals. Imagine an actual striker, maybe not a good one. I understand the fact that they need to get like the best option out there, but for a team as Arsenal, I don't see the reason why they have to be dragging foot. Just like Samson has said, they need to make a statement signing. And look at Liverpool, for example. They've made one, two, three statement signings already, and they don't have Club World Cup to play. This is a big team. I'm sure they have a whole department that takes care of okay, checking out the player, background checks, speaking to agents. It really should not be a big deal like that. For the most important point in the team, that should be the first thing that they all these and
They should
Norgaard,
bring 80
Sorry,
million for
sorry to cut
Santiago
you short.
Jimenez.
they
Salbert,
should be like
sorry to
they should
cut
be
in on
like
you.
things
Sorry to
that
cut
will
in
be
on you.
later.
Samson, what do you think?
Sorry
I
to
don't
cut in
mind
on
though.
you.
I don't mind.
I mean, for
But
me, it doesn't have to be Jokeres or Shesko. You have
Francesco.
Victor Osimhen. Even if you cannot get Jokeres or Shesko, you have Victor Osimhen. Price is setting 75 million. All you need to do is negotiate salary.
hold
If you
on, you
cannot
know,
get, there are
Mateta.
many strikers that you can actually get.
Mateta.
So
That's my
there is a
point.
lot more
for me,
involved
it
That's
with
just feels
Osimhen.
like they are delaying on
They are
this
dragging
striker
people that
situation.
they are
Maybe
But you
dragging
would
people
agree
I
with me
don't
that
I
that
don't
there's a
know
lot
why.
more involved with
We have
Osimhen.
Arsenal
Or
But
maybe they
sporting
don't
maybe
set as
director here.
priority.
We have Arsenal sporting director here, JD.
now this week's question is simple. In the last episode, we had a discussion about club culture, football clubs having certain cultures, and the need for new coaches or new owners to understand what the culture of a club is before setting strategies or before going ahead with whatever plans that they may have for club. Now, during the discussion, Yinka, that's myself, I mentioned the player actually. He was a very popular player in his day, but he's retired now. There was an example that I gave of a player on that episode. All we need you to do is give us the name of the player, drop it in the comment section, and we'll select two winners randomly. Again, we thank you for participating in our giveaway sections. But moving on, last segment of the show, we'll still be going back to the Club World Cup. We'll be focusing particularly on Africa's showing at the Club World Cup. Africa had three representatives, if I'm not mistaken. I know there was four representatives. I know there was Wydad Casablanca, there was Mamelodi
Sunderland,
Sundowns, there was Ahly, and who was the fourth team? Esperance,
Tunisia.
Esperance of Tunis. Yes. So four teams, four representatives from Africa.
And they're
As
all
it
back home.
stands, there are 16 teams in the Club World Cup in the second round. Nine of those teams are European teams. Four of those teams are South American teams. One of them is Mexican, that's from CONCACAF. One of them is from USA, that's also from CONCACAF. And we have one that's from Asia, that's an Arab club, Al Hilal. All the African teams have returned home, every single African team. Now, I'm going to give everybody a chance to discuss this. We do not have time, but we'll try to make it as brief as possible. 2 minutes each. I'll begin with Mayor. What are your thoughts on Africa's showing at the Club World Cup? Personally, for me, it looks like when it comes to FIFA tournaments, African teams just come, learn a new dance step or a new celebration that they intend to exhibit at the tournament. And then when they get a chance to show it, maybe after scoring a goal or after winning or drawing a game, they then show that dance step. It's not been impressive in my own opinion, but I don't know if you have a contrary opinion. What do you think?
I think is for me. I think Mamelodi Sundowns really tried. You can't compare the kind of budget all these European counterparts have, and then on what compared to their to African counterparts, you cannot compare the budget and the kind of player they can actually get to their sides. And with that, they still gave a good run for their money. They played, they played Dortmund. Was it Dortmund they played?
Yes.
And they played 4-4.
Mamelodi Sundowns played Dortmund, if I'm not mistaken. Yes.
4-3,
Was they played them 4-4, right?
3. No,
4-3,
that was
4-3.
Porto Alali.
No,
Porto Alani was 4-4.
Mamelodi played
Mamelodi
Borussia
was
Dortmund.
goalless, if I'm not mistaken.
They played
Yeah,
Dortmund.
they
They
lost
lost
to
by
Dortmund
4 goals to 3.
Yes, that
Or
was the
was
game
it
I was talking
4-3?
about. They really gave a very good. You can imagine Borussia Dortmund. Just imagine a Yimba playing Borussia Dortmund. You know what it would have been. We will have to turn off the TV. So I think Mamelodi Sundowns have really tried compared to what I was expecting to. Initially, I was thinking they were going to blow them away, but they were. So I think Mamelodi Sundowns should just give them their flowers. We know they can't win, and at least participate and give it a very good fight.
But Africa had four representatives, not just Mamelodi Sundowns.
They
I'm
are
talking about Africa as a whole now, not just
they
one
are the
team.
only one that has been impressive to me. I think they've really given a very good account of themselves.
So if you were to rate Africa's showing at the Club World Cup, say over 10, Africa as a whole, not just Mamelodi Sundowns.
Other people will now make them to score three.
Right. Ahmed, what are your thoughts?
Well, talking about Africa as a collective, we had a really poor showing. Casablanca of Morocco, very poor. In fact, they were playing against Al yesterday in the battle of the losers. They were still very woeful in that tie. They lost to Al was in the group with Chelsea. Well, they lost to Chelsea and Flamingo, but won their tie against the very poor Los Angeles FC side. Who else? Al flattered to deceive because I believe that that was a relatively easier group compared to others. They drew their first game to Inter Miami 0-0. I don't rate Inter Miami that highly, so they couldn't get more than
He
a
lost the
goal draw.
penalty set.
They lost to Palmeiras, and then in their final game against FC Porto, who were largely unconvincing throughout the tourney, they still went ahead to play 4-4. So that was why I said they flattered to deceive. And like everyone has been saying, Mamelodi Sundowns gave a good account. Yes, they fell short at the end of the day, but for anyone who is following African football, Sundown has been one very consistent CAF side. In fact, in the CAF Champions League, they lost by a slim margin to Pyramid of Egypt in the CAF Champions League finals. They drew 1-1 in South Africa and lost to Pyramids away. 2 years ago, I think they were the eventual winners of this. So they've been consistent on the African stage, and they went ahead to the Club World Cup to a good account of themselves on the balance of play. But they need to step up to the level of football. It is not just playing. You have to
You have to score goals
convert
and
your
To
win games.
score.
chances. Definitely, you have to
You
convert
have
your
to score
chances.
goals.
They had they played against Fluminense in a winner take all encounter. They did all of the playing, but like I said earlier on, Fluminense were very dogged defensively, so they couldn't break down Fluminense. So they had to pay for that by going back home. But on the balance of play throughout the tournament, they gave a good account against Dortmund, lost that tie eventually to 4-3. Some mistakes they should have done away with in the game, but that's football. You at this stage you pay for every mistakes you make. So I believe
All
they
right.
should learn from this and come back stronger next time.
All right. Sir Robert, what are your thoughts? Quickly.
For me, I think basically the not really the discovery of the Club World Cup, but the people that gave a very good showing of themselves has been Sundown. And just like Ahmed mentioned, if you've been following the CAF Champions League for a while, and if you've been in tune with the South African League, I think Sundown they won the last four leagues in the South African League, and they have literally decided to beat in the league.
Seven,
But I think probably like 4 or 5 times they've won the league back to back, and in the Champions League
seven,
seven,
seven times.
and they've been very impressive too. So it wasn't really a yeah, yeah, 7 times. So it wasn't really a surprise for us to see them come to the Club World Cup and play the way they did. Like Ahmed said, they could have done better in most of those games, and I think this is just the major difference between them and other side, the European side and the South American side. That's little bit of extra spark in the team. And for me, I saw the game against Dortmund. They really could have equalized the game and probably gotten a result out of there, but you just see a little bit of inexperience, not inexperience, but you can see that the European side had a little bit of edge over them, and which was the only place they faltered. For the other African team, I think Al Ahly had a very good chance to do very well in the group they had. The group was literally one of the easiest on paper. And giving a good just one win would have seen them scale out of that group. And just like I said, they missed a penalty against Inter Miami that could have gotten them the win. And for the other team, they were largely disappointing. Al Ain and what's his name? Sorry,
Casa
was really nothing to write them about. Esperance was very disappointing. I'm not even going to mean sport because based on the kind of group they had also, at least we expected them to have gotten probably a result here or there. But at the end of the day,
They
for
won a
me,
match.
I think you're trying to say Casablanca, not Esperance.
yeah, yeah, Casablanca. For me, rating the African team, just like someone here mentioned, Mamelodi Sundowns were literally the best that they had. And by the time you aggregate those other teams to them, they would bring them down to probably a 4 or a 5 in terms of rating over 10. But Sundown gives us something to hope about, probably in the next Club World Cup. Hopefully, they make it there by then.
JD, over 10. What's your score for African teams in the Club World Cup?
Yeah, maybe because I'm very, very familiar with the African football territory, I'll rate them 2/10. Maybe I even rated them three. I'll rate them 2/10. It would interest you to know the kind of resources that are made available for these African teams. These are the most relevant teams on the African continent. Why can you not just extend your relevance to the world stage? This is a very, very big opportunity for you to stamp your authority on the world stage. Tell these people that, okay, this same football you play here is what we do here. We are as good as you guys are. These Sundowns players live like the European players. They don't like anything. Same thing as Al Ali and the Esperance. When you look at the list of clubs that have won the most trophies in world football, you find Al Ali in the top five list. They are one to between 1 and 3 or 1 and 5. So you cannot be giving me the excuse that
Your network is really, really,
because I do not
really,
see
really
the.
bad. We can barely hear you. It's just breaking.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you, but I'm sure that you were trying to be, and I do hope that Riverside, that's the app that we use. Just pick up everything that you say because I've noticed that sometimes, even when your network does
Goes
not
off.
relay the sound, the app still picks it up, and then the production does work
Okay, I
out
understand. So
fine in the
after
end. I'm
Sundowns,
sorry for cutting you short, but we do not really have a lot of time on our hands. I've got Samson left. Over 10, 1 minute. Give us your
Zero,
rating.
zero. I agree with JD. Look, we had four representatives. Saudi Arabia had just two representatives. One of them is in the second round.
They had just
And
won. Saudi
the
Arabia
way
had
all of
just
you
they
tried,
represented Asia.
it
Wait,
was
oh, wait, oh.
embarrassing.
Saudi Arabia is not a continent. Asia
It's
still had the Urawa Red Diamonds. Alain was from
Okay, okay.
Asia. I think they
Zero,
had about
zero.
four.
You can't possibly
Disappointed.
score zero. That is so that.
Mamelodi best team and they could not beat Fluminense. I saw the match and you are wondering they were doing all the playing. No, I mean,
Even me, I think I would be so harsh to give them zero, but well, it is what it is.
okay,
Um,
one for appearance, one for appearance.
It's still unacceptable.
but with that we've come to the end of today's show. It's been fun for me. I hope it has been fun for you guys as well.
yes,
Thank
sir.
you particularly to Sarobet for joining us on the first time for the first time on the show. We
It's
hope to
my
see you again on subsequent episodes. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you, Samson. Thank you, JD. I think I've mentioned everybody. And until we meet again next time, before we go, please do not forget to like, share, engage all our contents. Basically, you can engage our contents on social media. On Twitter, we're present on Twitter, present on TikTok, we're present on Facebook, and we're present on Instagram. Just engage all of our contents. Would really appreciate it. And with that, we've come to the end of the show. Like I said earlier, until we meet again next time. Have a lovely day.